A story begins 6 months in the past, when a man wakes up on a beach with no memory of who he is or how he got there. After receiving water that tastes better than any alcohol, he realizes he has complete amnesia, but feels oddly liberated by this blank slate. A 10-year-old boy named Noah finds the amnesiac man on an island near Hawaii. The man discovers a mysterious item that matches his tattoos. Their meeting is interrupted when they have to hide from approaching pirates. When the pirates threaten Noah, the amnesiac man instinctively protects him, engaging in a violent confrontation. During the fight, the man realizes his combat skills suggest a dark past. Despite this revelation, Noah remains supportive, impressed by how the man defended him. While walking to safety, Noah reveals he has a pet tiger named Goro, though he insists it's just a cat. The tiger was found a few months ago after a shipwreck when it was much smaller. The man realizes Noah has a habit of taking in strays. They arrive at Noah's home, which is actually the island's only bar. Noah's father Jason and sister Moana run the establishment. Jason is immediately suspicious of the stranger, but allows him to stay after some convincing from his children. The conversation reveals information about Neil Island, located 3 hours away, where Yakuza are allegedly cleaning up nuclear waste left by a religious group called Polycana. This suggests the amnesiac man might be connected to the Yakuza operations there. Finding transportation to Neil Island proves challenging. The next charter boat isn't due for a month, and the local pirates who might have helped are no longer an option after the earlier confrontation. Noah spends the day helping search for alternative transportation. The man recalls fragments of his past in a place called Kamurocho, describing it as dangerous and filled with gambling, drinking, and violence. Noah, fascinated by the outside world, asks to secretly accompany the man when he leaves the island, essentially proposing to run away from home. A conversation begins about adventure and a giant squid barb from a grandfather who allegedly caught a massive squid that wrapped around an entire ship. While some may doubt this tale, the enormity of the world suggests such incredible things could happen. The grandfather was adventurous enough to name an island after himself. Discussion reveals a family history of travel and adventure. While the father and sister have memories of life beyond the island, their current situation is restricted due to childhood asthma that prompted a move from Honolulu. The father, now frequently drinking at bars, insists on staying on the island, claiming it's unsafe to trust outsiders. A promise is made between a one-eyed Yakuza and a young person to leave the island together. Despite the Yakuza's memory loss, he commits to helping his young savior escape, even temporarily, establishing this as a pact between men. Information about Madlantis emerges, an island known as a hideout for gangs and mafia. People from there participate in the Pirates Coliseum, engaging in sword fights and cannon fire for substantial prize money. Tension builds at a local establishment as some troublemakers arrive looking for the one-eyed Yakuza. The situation becomes heated with threats toward a worker named Moana, leading to confrontation and violence. A father expresses deep distrust of strangers, drawing from his worldwide travel experience. Despite the Yakuza's help in a fight, the father demands he stay away from the family, believing he can protect them without outside assistance. Despite the father's opposition, Moana and another person secretly provide food and shelter to the Yakuza. Plans are made for survival training and fishing lessons, maintaining the promise to eventually leave the island together. The establishment becomes surrounded by watchful adversaries, affecting business operations. A plan forms to reach Nelly Island by confronting these pirates directly, with confidence in handling overwhelming odds. Details about the Madlantis outlaws emerge. They maintain their own laws within Madlantis, but disregard rules elsewhere. A conflict escalates with gunfire and cannon shots, leading to direct confrontation. A tense dining scene unfolds where a cook presents an unusual meal featuring fruit bat meat, much to the captain's disgust and displeasure. Despite the cook's insistence on the meat's quality and cultural significance, the captain demands a regular steak instead. The conversation is interrupted by commotion outside. A confrontation erupts between the crew and a mysterious visitor from the Yakuza of Nil Island. After easily defeating several crew members, the visitor engages in tense dialogue with the captain. The visitor reveals he was shipwrecked with no memories except his Yakuza connection, seeking passage to Nil Island. A fight breaks out between the visitor and Masaru, the captain's skilled bodyguard and cook. The intense battle demonstrates both combatants' considerable fighting abilities, ultimately ending with Masaru's defeat, though he survives the encounter. The situation escalates dramatically when the captain takes a young boy hostage, revealing his true cruel nature. This act prompts Masaru to turn against his captain, leading to a decisive confrontation where the captain brandishes a special weapon from his collection. Following the captain's defeat, the crew suggests the mysterious visitor become their new captain, citing his victory and desire to reach Nil Island as qualifying factors. The visitor accepts the position, gaining enthusiastic support from the remaining crew members. Discussion turns to practical matters of running the ship, particularly the need for a navigator. The young boy suggests his father, a former treasure hunter with navigation experience, though there appears to be existing tension in that relationship. A confrontational meeting occurs with Jason Rich, the boy's father and potential navigator. Despite initial resistance and obvious family tension, it's revealed that Jason and Masaru were former treasure hunting partners who ventured into piracy at Madlantis to fund their expeditions. The interaction suggests unresolved history between the characters. A conversation reveals the complex history between two treasure hunters, with one having retired while the other continued pursuing riches. The dialogue touches on their shared past and physical changes over time, leading to a meaningful discussion about a boy named Noah and his treasure hunting father. A proposition is made to reform an old partnership, but it is firmly rejected. The refusal comes with tension, as one party insists they are no longer the same person and wishes to remain on the island. Despite attempts to highlight the necessity of specific skills for leaving the island, the offer continues to be declined. From an elevated vantage point, the small scale of the island becomes apparent, with key locations like a bar and ship in view. The conversation turns to why someone would choose to settle on such a small island, particularly for health-related reasons. The discussion shifts to the legend of the Esperanza, a Spanish ship attacked by pirates 200 years ago. Its cargo, valued at billions in modern currency, was lost during a storm near the Palmyra Atoll. The ship reportedly carried not just gold and ink, but also a mythical elixir of eternal life. The narrative delves into the financial challenges of treasure hunting and a devastating incident at the Pirates' Coliseum. A betrayal during a prize fight led to ship damage and casualties, ultimately resulting in the end of a treasure hunting career and subsequent disappearance. A tense confrontation unfolds regarding a deal made with Noah to leave the island. This revelation creates conflict between father and son, exposing deep-seated concerns about health issues and the challenges of protective parenting versus allowing independence. The situation escalates into an emotional dispute about Noah's future and his desire to explore beyond the island. The argument centers on the balance between protection and allowing growth, with strong opinions about the right time for a child to venture into the wider world. The conflict reaches resolution as an agreement is finally reached to embark on a new journey together. The decision comes after intense discussion about personal growth, parental responsibilities, and the importance of pursuing dreams, marking a significant turning point for all involved. A poignant conversation takes place at a bar where someone announces their departure. Despite initial concerns, the bar staff express confidence in their ability to manage without them, noting that the establishment hasn't been profitable lately. They reassure that their departure might actually benefit the business, demonstrating maturity and readiness to take on more responsibility. The focus shifts to a ship naming ceremony. The vessel is christened Goro Maru, incorporating Japanese naming conventions with the Maru suffix traditionally used for ships. This name choice honors an important crew member, bringing a touch of whimsy to their maritime venture. A musical sequence unfolds as crew members express their excitement about embarking on new adventures. Through song, they convey themes of breaking free from routine, chasing dreams, and embracing the unknown waters ahead. The atmosphere is filled with optimism and anticipation for their journey. The narrative reveals that within just 2 days of awakening without memories, the protagonist has become a pirate ship captain. This transformation sets the stage for upcoming adventures and treasure hunting escapades. The scene concludes with a brief filming break. Background information emerges about legendary Yakuza Goro Majima, who awakened on Rich Island without memories. His quest leads to Palicanas Nella Island, where other Yakuza await. The crew embarks on their journey aboard the Goro Maru with great enthusiasm. The crew encounters their first maritime challenge when Jack the Collector, a former captain, confronts them. An intense ship battle ensues, culminating in negotiations over a valuable treasure map containing locations of various buried treasures. The crew begins their first treasure hunting adventure, discussing their aspirations to become legendary pirates. They define true piracy as more than just seeking wealth. It includes helping others, maintaining honor, and building a positive reputation on the seas. Upon reaching Neely Island, they discover a drastically different landscape from Rich Island. The area appears abandoned and has been turned into a nuclear landfill by Palicana. The crew faces unexpected hostility from local disciples, leading to confrontation. A tense confrontation occurs with a group of apparent bodyguards. The situation escalates when someone named Majima is recognized but claims to have no memory of his identity. The guards are initially hostile but begin to show recognition and concern when they realize who Majima is. After some aggressive exchanges and a brief physical altercation where someone named Masaru is knocked out, the situation begins to de-escalate. A man named Shigaki reveals himself as a former Tojo clan family leader who knew Majima from their time in the organization. Details emerge about how the Tojo clan and Omi alliance were dissolved due to new legal restrictions. This was apparently done suddenly by Majima and other leaders, despite opposition from lower ranks. The decision was made to prevent a slow decline of the organizations. The conversation reveals that about 100 former Yakuza are working on the island, dealing with nuclear waste disposal. They were initially tricked into this dangerous work by someone named Abino, but the situation improved with proper safety standards and legitimate employment opportunities in Hawaii. It is revealed that Majima had recently been on the island as a supervisor, but disappeared after a bizarre boat accident, allegedly involving a giant squid. The group arrives at their living quarters, where more former clan members excitedly greet Majima, though he still cannot remember them. Plans are made to get Majima proper medical attention in Japan. A person named Saigima, described as Majima's sworn brother and former Tojo clan officer, is reportedly en route to help. The group discusses whether Majima should prioritize medical treatment over his current activities. The conversation shifts to discussing the Palicana group and their former leader Bryce's arrest. The remaining members on Now Island are described as zealots, struggling to maintain their position, similar to the Yakuza after their dissolution. Tensions exist between the groups sharing the island. A character named Rodriguez offers transportation and leads to a confrontation where Majima demonstrates impressive fighting skills despite being 60 years old. The scene establishes his continued physical prowess despite his memory loss. The conversation turns to a place called Madlantis, described as a destination where the island's Yakuza frequently travel to spend their earnings. It's portrayed as an appealing location for former gang members with regular shuttle service provided for transportation. A group discusses visiting Madlantis, a dangerous location not suitable for children. Despite reservations, conversation turns to the Esperanza treasure, worth $1 billion. A wealthy New York moneylender named Spade Tucker has allegedly discovered new information about the treasure's location, sparking renewed interest in pursuing it. The discussion reveals more details about Spade Tucker, including that he travels with constant security. While many dismiss the Esperanza treasure as merely legend, several individuals take the possibility seriously and express interest in meeting Tucker once they arrive in Madlantis. The history of Madlantis is revealed. It was created by Bryce Fairchild, a former gang leader who became the Sage of Polycana. Over decades, Bryce gained power within the religious organization and eventually took control after the previous Sage's death. He transformed the area into a lawless zone where even law enforcement was under his influence. After Bryce's departure, Madlantis came under new management, primarily controlled by Queen Shell, a former high society figure. She established the Pirates Coliseum, which became the most profitable venture in Madlantis, surpassing its numerous casinos and other establishments. During their journey to Madlantis, the group encounters aggressive security forces who board their vessel without warning. What initially appears to be a security check reveals itself as potential extortion attempt. Through clever negotiation, they manage to turn the situation around and receive compensation for the unwanted boarding. Upon reaching Madlantis, they discover an impressive hidden world within a cave system. The settlement originated from a sunken tanker, eventually growing into a ship graveyard where vessels were deliberately abandoned to avoid dismantling costs. This eventually evolved into the current elaborate establishment. The group splits up to search for Spade Tucker, with some heading to a local establishment called Dunghill. However, they soon learn Tucker hasn't been in the area recently. The situation becomes complicated when they discover a bounty has been placed on someone in their group by Jack the Collector, an officer of the Mortimer Armada. The story revolves around a betrayal at the Coliseum game 7 years ago by someone named Mortimer, which resulted in a sunken boat and 2 deaths. Mortimer Armada has since become Madlantis' biggest attraction, dominating the Pirates Coliseum with their flags being sold everywhere. A discussion ensues about the potential risks of Mortimer targeting not just the crew, but also their families, particularly someone named Moana on Rich Island. This creates concern about collateral damage from their conflict. The crew develops a plan to deal with the Mortimer threat. Rather than fighting the entire armada, they decide to challenge Mortimer directly through the Pirates Coliseum system, where they must win multiple matches to earn the right to face him as the champion. To face Mortimer, they must first pass through a contention qualifier system. This requires building their crew rank through recognition and victories against tough opponents. They need to prove themselves worthy by defeating the best competitors. Mortimer is described as a deceptive character, a seemingly harmless pretty boy with a ruthless interior. The crew becomes determined to teach him a lesson and prevent him from threatening their allies. The crew encounters difficulties with Coliseum entry requirements, including minimum crew size restrictions. They plan to strengthen their numbers in Honolulu. During travel, they spot an unmapped island with boats nearby that catches their interest for potential treasure. The crew arrives in Honolulu, where personal history emerges involving Noah's family. His mother and sister Naomi live there, though his father seems reluctant to reconnect with them despite the years that have passed. In Honolulu, they visit a karaoke bar called Revolve to connect with a well-connected bartender who might help them find ship repairs and new crew members. They interact with a server named Cake, who directs them to the bartender. The bartender refers them to Clark, a skilled former shipwright who might be able to help with their vessel. Clark can typically be found drinking alone at Shinobi Sushi in the afternoons. The narrative shifts to a conversation about the Goromaru ship and updates from Rich Island, where remaining pirates from a previous encounter still harbor resentment over losing their ship. The scene concludes with an introduction revealing the name Goro Majima. A conversation reveals there are multiple characters named Goro, including Goro Majima. The group discusses stopping briefly while taking the Goromaru ship to Madlantis, ultimately deciding to anchor overnight to rest from the sea travel. Noah receives instructions to follow the captain's orders and keep someone safe. The group encounters an exciting waterfall during their journey, treating it as an adventure rather than a threat. There is discussion about an ancient blood and a bounty placed on Majima's head, though the bounty amount is dismissed as insignificant. The scene shifts to a Pirates Coliseum event, marking the debut of the Goromaru crew. The countdown begins for what appears to be a significant competition or battle, with the crowd showing enthusiasm and support. After a successful debut at the Coliseum, Captain Majima and crew receive an invitation from Queen Michelle and Pirate King Raymond Law for a special celebration. Despite initial hesitation about being ordered around by strangers, they decide to accept after considering the potential benefits, including addressing the bounty issue. At the royal meeting, Queen Michelle and Pirate King Raymond Law welcome the Goromaru crew. A complex dynamic emerges involving characters named Mortimer, Jason, and Naomi Rich, who serves as Queen Michelle's right hand. The Queen issues a special permit to enhance their status in Madlantis. The situation takes a dark turn when Noah is kidnapped by individuals from Neil Island. The kidnappers send a photo and demand a favor from Majima in exchange for Noah's safe return. The crew quickly mobilizes to rescue Noah, meeting at a pub called Dung Hill to plan their approach. The rescue mission leads them to an old part of the island with a mysterious new door. After finding an alternative route, they locate Noah and confront the kidnappers, who appear more interested in eliminating Majima than negotiating. The confrontation reveals deeper complexities involving Palikanahaku, Nell Island, and a secret that interests Queen Michelle. The situation suggests that Majima's perceived connection to the Queen may have made him a target. The existence of multiple secrets, including a nuclear waste situation, adds layers to the ongoing mystery. A tense situation has emerged where Noah has been kidnapped and put in danger. The group decides they need to learn more about a secret from Naomi. When asked to bring her over, it's revealed she doesn't mix family and work in Madlantis, but agreed to meet in Honolulu tomorrow at her mother's jewelry store. A request is made to visit Base Island to see Namioka, described as an old treasure-hunting mentor who taught valuable lessons about respecting the sea. There are strong feelings of loyalty and a desire to show Namioka that their return to sailing has been successful. Upon arriving at Base Island, they find the area in concerning disarray. Following their instincts about something being wrong, they discover Namioka has been attacked by the Devil Flags, notorious pirates known for their brutality and contempt for rules, so vicious they were banned from even the Pirates Coliseum. It is revealed the Devil Flags were after the Pharaoh's Stone, a precious jewel Namioka had kept secret for years. The stone was a memento of his wife and held deep personal value beyond its monetary worth. In his dying moments, Namioka asks for protection for his daughter Misaki. After Namioka's death, Misaki reveals the Pharaoh's Stone was her father's proposal ring to her mother, who had passed away from illness. The stone represents her parents' shared love. She vows revenge against the Devil Flags despite warnings about their dangerous nature. Noah advocates for helping Misaki, arguing that running away from dangerous enemies only enables them. The captain of the Goro pirates agrees, officially inviting Misaki to join their crew with a promise to help her get revenge and recover the Pharaoh's Stone. The group formulates a strategy to track down the Devil Flags, who likely haven't sailed far due to their large fleet size. They plan to start by confronting lower-ranking members to gather intelligence about the officers who have the Pharaoh's stone. The scene shifts to a meeting at what appears to be a jewelry store. Various family dynamics and relationships are revealed, including Jane waiting for Jason and an emotional reunion between Noah and their mother. Additional background comes to light about the store owner being Queen Michelle's secretary and bodyguard in Madlantis. They discuss their path to this position, acknowledging their natural inclination toward a less conventional lifestyle despite attempts at legitimate business. A discussion begins about a legendary treasure worth $1 billion that pirates buried 200 years ago. Initially thought to be in Palmyra Atoll, the treasure is actually buried under Neil Island. Queen Michelle wants proof of its existence and has tasked a team with finding it. The story expands from Neil Island to Madlantis and Honolulu. After Majima gains recognition in the Pirates Coliseum, Naomi, who is Noah's sister and Jason's daughter, reveals the secret about the Esperanza treasure on Neil Island. Queen Michelle offers a 90-10 split for finding the treasure, which is deemed unfair. The team decides to pursue the treasure independently, following the finder's keeper's principle, rather than accepting the Queen's terms. The intel about the treasure comes from Spade Tucker, an 85-year-old New York moneylender with deep connections to the criminal underworld. Tucker partnered with Shigaki, an ex-Tojo clan Yakuza, to prevent Nella Island from being sealed off. The connection between Japan, the Yakuza, and Nella Island is revealed. They previously supported Palikana before a nuclear waste dumping scandal. Tucker strategically chose the Yakuza as partners, promising to share the treasure. The team plans to confront Shigaki on Neil Island, who had been secretly hunting for the treasure while trying to send others away. They also intend to settle a score with Palikana for kidnapping Noah. Two former Tojo clan members, Minami and Nishida, pledge loyalty to their boss after a period of separation. This leads to a tense confrontation about choosing sides between their current leader and Shigaki. The situation escalates into a violent confrontation with Shigaki's group, revealing their true intentions and abandonment of their reformed ways. This clash brings the treasure hunt into sharp focus. After the conflict, discussions about the Esperanza treasure resume. The team learns that Queen Michelle has extensive intelligence networks in Madlantis, gathering information from loose-lipped Yakuza members in local establishments. A revelation suggests that the Palikana thugs who attempted an assassination in Atlantis and orchestrated Noah's kidnapping may be present on Neil Island, hiding their identities behind masks. A tense confrontation leads to a confession about a plot against two individuals, the speaker and Saigima. The plan involved trying to get them both out of the way by orchestrating events that would send them to different locations. This included an attempted murder in Atlantis to divert attention. The group had cut ties with their former allegiances and family connections, essentially burning bridges to pursue a treasure hunt in Hawaii. They acknowledge being too invested now to back down, having put everything on the line for this venture. A surprising turn occurs when, despite the previous murder attempt, an offer is made to team up and split the treasure equally between all crews involved. This generous proposition comes with the stipulation that only those actively participating in the treasure hunt would receive shares. Discussion reveals that local Haku people are unaware of the treasure hunt, deliberately kept in the dark to avoid complications and demands for shares. The conversation is interrupted by news that Saigima has arrived at the harbor. A legendary figure named Taiga Saigima arrives, notable for having a tiger tattoo on his back. The encounter becomes tense as he confronts someone claiming to have amnesia and refusing to return to Japan. the situation escalates into a physical confrontation between Saigima and his supposed brother, culminating in a strategic battle where both fighters attempt to outmaneuver each other through deception. After the fight, it becomes clear that multiple parties on the island are involved in a larger scheme. Saigima finds himself outnumbered, but remains defiant, questioning their intentions and refusing to back down. The focus shifts to a promise made to a boy named Noah, who saved someone's life. The promise involves showing Noah the world, having already visited several locations including Atlantis and Honolulu. The discussion turns to unfinished responsibilities in Japan regarding the dissolution of Yakuza groups. A proposal emerges to find the Esperanza treasure as a way to help Noah, potentially containing a life elixir for his health condition. The group agrees to stay and search for the treasure together, with even the initially resistant parties joining the hunt. The scene ends with someone needing to be briefed on the details of the Esperanza treasure. An impressive ship called the Goro Majima is introduced, captained by someone who apparently lost their memories. The crew seems excited and impressed by both the vessel and their boss' achievement in obtaining it. Discussions reveal that someone named Saigima is still sleeping after a journey involving flights to Honolulu and Nelly Island, followed by intense activities that have left him exhausted. There appears to have been some kind of fight, though the details remain contentious. A plot involving Spade Tucker bringing Yakuza to an island is revealed. The dual purpose appears to be preventing the island's closure while searching for the legendary Esperanza treasure. Questions arise about the reliability of the treasure information. The treasure information comes from an old pirate journal acquired by Tucker from a descendant who surrendered it to settle gambling debts. The journal supposedly details the location of the Esperanza treasure in a secret cave on Neil Island. Warnings are shared about Tucker's formidable security detail, capable of handling hundreds of Yakuza. Plans are made to meet Tucker through his representative, a lawyer named Kobayashi, who can be found at a white bridge in Harbor Park, Honolulu. The meeting with Kobayashi occurs at the bridge. He reveals himself as a martial artist turned lawyer and requests a sparring match to verify credentials before arranging any meeting with Tucker. After a successful sparring match, directions are given to find Tucker at the Madlantis Luxury Palace Hotel. Upon arrival, Tucker leads them on a chase by boat to a mysterious location. The pursuit leads to a cave system that shows signs of modification. The group encounters an ambush and various traps, suggesting careful preparation by Tucker's forces. Finally, meeting Tucker, he maintains strict security measures including protective glass. He explains acquiring a red leather journal 30 years ago containing detailed information about the Esperanza treasure. The story of the Esperanza is revealed, dating back to 1816. The original crew had obtained valuable treasure including an alleged elixir of eternal life. Their ship was attacked by pirates, who later became stranded on Neil Island during a storm, discovering an abandoned village. An abandoned village was discovered by pirates who noticed an elderly woman moving through the brush. Following her led them to a hidden cave where villagers had taken refuge from the pirates. The cave seemed like the perfect location to store their precious cargo, but the pirates knew they needed to eliminate any potential witnesses. After dealing with the villagers, the pirates concealed their treasure and made plans to return together later, though each likely schemed to return alone and claim everything. They departed by small boats with supplies. One pirate was later rescued by an American whaling vessel and claimed before dying that the treasure was hidden on Palmyra Atoll. The empty settlement was known as the Village of Heretics who opposed Orthodox Polycana teachings. This suggests the location is actually on Neely Island, a Polycana holy site. Finding this village would be key to locating the cave containing the untouched Esperanza treasure, though discovering its location has proven extremely challenging. Under previous sage Bryce Fairchild, Hawaii's underworld kept Neil Island's location secret. After 30 years of waiting, there's finally a chance to locate the treasure. The excitement is palpable among the treasure hunters involved in the search, who have agreed to report back once the village is found. The mystique of the Esperanza treasure makes it compelling despite potential false leads. The next step involves joining Shigaki's team in searching for the heretic village on Neil Island, though this task is complicated by thick jungle terrain and limited information about what to look for. An elderly man's house was discovered containing photos connecting him to Bryce, the former sage. A significant find was an ancient coin that could potentially be linked to the treasure. However, Rodriguez's unexpected arrival and hostile reaction to seeing the coin suggested he knew about its significance. The situation escalates as Rodriguez's reaction to the coin discovery leads to conflict. The team must evacuate quickly, with Noah being escorted to the Goromaru ship, while others prepare for potential confrontation with the Haku, who significantly outnumber them with elite forces. The discovered coin is identified as a Spanish piece of 8, a silver currency that was globally significant during the Esperanza's era. This finding appears to validate the connection to the legendary treasure and explains the intense reaction from those attempting to keep its location secret. The situation becomes tense as it's revealed the Haku may have already found the treasure. The group realizes they may end up in violent conflict over it regardless. When fire breaks out, everyone evacuates. A plan emerges to capture Rodriguez as a hostage to gain leverage against the Haku's larger numbers. Despite the odds of 100 versus 400, they decide they must fight. The tides turn as reinforcements arrive. A call is made for help, revealing Raymond Law's involvement. It comes to light that an arrangement was made to leverage Law's connections to smuggle and sell the treasure once found. The lost treasure of Esperanza has been on Law's radar for quite some time. Rodriguez reveals that only his elderly father knows the treasure's location, but due to his declining mental state, can't remember it clearly. The father, who was never truly a Polycana follower, is actually a descendant of the original pirates. He infiltrated the group by marrying a follower and having a child, finding the treasure but choosing family over wealth. The story continues as Rodriguez explains how his father couldn't admit the truth about his motives, choosing to remain on LA Island instead of taking the treasure. He kept only a few silver coins as a reminder of his regret. Over time, the treasure's location was forgotten, and Rodriguez began his own search when government plans threatened to seal off the island. The groups discuss how to convince Tucker to help them, debating between diplomatic approaches and forceful methods. They realize that with the Neil Island Yakuza and Haku joining forces, Tucker can't afford to stay hidden if he wants a share of the treasure. They strategize about maintaining their respective positions and shares. The scene shifts to Tucker's location, which shows signs of isolation's toll. Tucker appears more welcoming than in previous encounters, expecting information. When presented with a piece of 8 from Neil Island, confirming the Esperanza treasure's existence, the discovery's significance becomes clear, though the exact location remains elusive. A conversation begins about a long-sought treasure, with one party questioning whether an old man would have moved it by now. It is revealed that Rodriguez, the Haku leader, has confirmed the treasure remains in its location and is actively searching for a heretic's village on Neil Island that would help pinpoint the treasure's exact position. Captain Majima insists that someone must join their crew to get more details about the treasure, despite that person's reluctance due to the dangerous Polycana viper's nest. The situation on Neil Island has intensified with approximately 300 people, including Haku and Akusa forces, now involved in the treasure hunt. A tense negotiation ensues over treasure shares. Initially demanding 80%, then dropping to 50%, the individual is forced to accept just 10% of the treasure, still worth approximately $100 million, as the power dynamics have shifted and they are no longer essential to the search. The scene shifts as Wardimer appears and proposes a battle at the Pirates' Coliseum. Raymond Law then intervenes, declaring that Tucker must remain in Madlantis as a hostage until certain conditions are met. The cannons of Madlantis are threatened against any who try to leave without proper authorization. The crew discusses their predicament. They need Tucker to find the treasure on Neil Island, but must first defeat Mortimer at the Coliseum to leave Madlantis. They consider various strategies, including a complex plan to overcome the 10 cannons guarding the port, but conclude they lack sufficient manpower. The situation becomes more complicated with the appearance of Jack the Collector, who claims ownership rights to the ship and crew. This reveals a past debt that must be settled, adding another layer of complexity to their already challenging circumstances. The encounter ends with unexpected tension as the Collector mysteriously departs. A tense confrontation unfolds as Captain Jack has mobilized forces and increased a bounty tenfold. A large group of threatening individuals has gathered outside, described as an endless stream of Jacktars eager for violence. The situation appears increasingly dangerous, with warnings of imminent conflict. Clear threats are made regarding targets throughout Hawaii, prompting preparation for a tactical retreat to the beach. However, this is revealed to be part of a larger counterattack strategy rather than a simple escape plan. The tension continues to build as forces gather. A formidable bounty hunter from the Mortimer Armada enters the scene, having been specially hired to pursue the targets. The confrontation escalates with threats of violence, leading to a dramatic encounter with serious stakes for all involved. A dangerous situation develops when oblivious tourists mistake a real pirate ship for an attraction, attempting to take photos despite urgent warnings. The ship presents an immediate threat as it prepares to open fire, creating a chaotic scene requiring immediate evacuation. After an intense confrontation, survivors regroup and receive orders to board their ship quickly. Despite achieving some measure of victory, more adversaries are approaching, maintaining the pressure of the pursuit. A significant encounter in Honolulu leads to preparations for a final battle with Mortimer. The complex relationship between rival factions becomes apparent, with hints at past betrayals and a 7-year rise to power creating deep-seated animosity. The narrative shifts to a private meeting regarding treasure arrangements. Law reveals an existing contract demanding 50% of profits through specific distribution channels, leading to tense negotiations and threatening exchanges about control over valuable artifacts. The meeting deteriorates into violence when agreements cannot be reached. The true nature of the Pirate King is revealed as more businessman than legendary figure, resulting in combat with his guards and dramatic confrontation over the Esperanza situation. A potential betrayal comes to light as information surfaces about Masaru possibly colluding with Mortimer Armada regarding an upcoming Coliseum match. The crew grapples with trust issues and evidence of betrayal, leading to difficult decisions about handling the situation. A tense conversation begins about accountability and betrayal within a crew. There is discussion about confronting someone at a location called Black Amber near a circus tent, where the crew has surveillance on all exits to prevent escape. The atmosphere is charged with seriousness about handling a betrayal situation appropriately. The crew discovers Masaru is alone inside Black Amber after Mortimer's associates recently departed. They decide this presents an ideal opportunity for a confrontation. There are concerns about Masaru potentially waiting to leave discreetly to avoid being seen. The situation requires careful handling due to the long history between crew members. A confrontation reveals Masaru accepted an offer from Mortimer to sabotage the Goromaru's weapons before an upcoming Pirates Coliseum fight. Despite their shared history, Masaru took money and planned to make a clean break from the crew. This betrayal particularly stings given their previous bond and shared experiences. The situation escalates when an old video from 7 years ago surfaces, sent by Mortimer during the confrontation. The video reveals a past conversation involving Masaru that requires immediate discussion. The tension builds as the crew realizes there are deeper layers to this betrayal than initially thought. Masaru confesses that 7 years ago, he temporarily accepted money to fix a match, but later returned it and backed out. However, he never warned anyone about Mortimer's attempts to corrupt crew members. This silence may have contributed to a devastating betrayal that cost lives and left the crew stranded on an island for 7 years. The truth emerges that Mortimer sent the incriminating video as punishment because Masaru refused to participate in his current scheme. Masaru chose loyalty over money this time, though planned to flee before his past actions were exposed. This revelation changes the perspective on his current situation. The crew faces a decision about trusting Masaru again. While some are willing to move forward, others, particularly Jason, struggle to forgive immediately. Masaru acknowledges his mistakes and commits to earning back trust over time, requesting to remain with the crew at least until claiming his share of treasure. The situation resolves with tentative acceptance of Masaru back into the crew. The focus shifts to confronting Mortimer, with the crew united in seeking retribution. The mood transforms from internal conflict to external challenge as they prepare for an important showdown. The narrative builds toward an epic confrontation at Madlantis. Forces gather as tensions escalate between the crew and their adversaries. The Goromaru is prepared for battle, with 7 years of accumulated grievances ready to be settled. The crew stands united despite their recent internal conflicts. The confrontation with Mortimer reaches its climax as the crew corners him. Questions arise about his past betrayal in the Pirates Coliseum, particularly regarding his motivations for turning against former allies. The situation suggests deeper revelations may be forthcoming about the history between these adversaries. A tense conversation unfolds about a past betrayal where someone double-crossed their crew, severely impacting Jason, who lost his ship, crew, and hopes of finding treasure with Kira and Noah. The betrayer claims they can't remember why they did it, suggesting people don't choose wrong paths, but rather stumble onto them with no way back. The conversation reveals that Raymond had manipulated the situation by falsely claiming Jason had already betrayed the crew first. This deception led to the betrayal without any guilt at the time. However, the truth eventually came to light that they were the only one who had actually turned against the crew. A deal is proposed to make things right by getting the bounty removed from their heads. However, this attempt at reconciliation is interrupted by someone citing the Colosseum's strict rules. Only victory or death are acceptable outcomes, no bargaining allowed. The Colosseum must maintain its reputation for blood sport. The discussion shifts to their odds of safe passage, estimated at 50 to 60%. As Madlantis champions, they were promised safe passage after winning. Additionally, Raymond Law needs them alive to find the Esperanza treasure, making their survival beneficial to him despite his harsh reputation. An intruder arrives with a message from Queen Michelle regarding discoveries at Neil Island. The warning is clear. Any information about the Esperanza treasure must be reported to her immediately, with death as the consequence for betrayal. Her influence is described as far-reaching, even surpassing Raymond Law's power. The crew discusses meeting Rodriguez and Shigaki, who have been waiting for Tucker. Their goal involves finding a village of heretics, which will lead them to the Esperanza treasure. There is talk of a 200-year-old magical elixir that could potentially help someone with lung problems. The focus turns to Nell Island's geography, specifically locating a heretic's village discovered 2 centuries ago. A 10% share agreement is confirmed, but trust issues emerge between Rodriguez and Tucker regarding potential deception in locating the treasure. To resolve the trust issues, a brutal arbitration method is proposed involving progressive finger and toe amputation as punishment for any deception. This forces both parties to reveal their information. Rodriguez identifies the village location, while Tucker indicates the treasure is in a secret cave revealed only at low tide. A tense discussion unfolds about the reliability of a 200-year-old journal that contains crucial information. Despite concerns about potential memory flaws and exaggeration in the written record, the source insists on the truthfulness of their account, even offering to swear on a Bible. The revelation leads to plans for a coastal expedition to the Goro Majima location. The search focuses on finding a secret cave that should be visible during low tide. According to the journal, the cave entrance is approximately 4 meters wide, significant enough to spot but likely difficult to locate. The cave's entrance may have become obscured over the centuries, leading to mounting tension about the accuracy of the information. The group decides to fire ship cannons at a boulder, revealing a hidden cave entrance. This discovery triggers an encounter with a massive squid that had previously wrecked their ship. An intense battle ensues with the creature, demonstrating remarkable bravery and combat skills from the crew. After defeating the squid, they confirm finding the Esperanza treasure cave. The victory marks a crucial turning point in their quest, with nothing left standing between them and their goal. The crew rallies together for the final push toward the legendary treasure. Upon entering the cave, they discover an impressive treasure trove of coins and gems. However, some express disappointment about a missing artifact called the Heart of the Dragon, an elixir of eternal life mentioned in the journal. This revelation sparks discussions about health versus wealth and personal motivations for seeking the treasure. A touching moment occurs between a father and son, discussing the son's illness and their shared adventure. The crew celebrates by preparing grilled squid from their recent battle, creating a festive atmosphere. A special pendant is crafted as a memento of their journey. The situation becomes complicated when Queen Michelle learns of the treasure's discovery. A betrayal unfolds as information about the crew's plans is leaked. The Queen prepares to mobilize her fleet to seize the treasure, setting up an imminent confrontation. A defensive strategy is formulated involving multiple ships and careful positioning near the island. Raymond's foresight leads to preparations for the coming battle, though tensions arise over how the plan was conceived and shared among the crew. The crew of the Goro Majima prepares for their final stand against Queen Michelle's forces. A massive naval battle begins, with the defenders showing remarkable determination to protect their hard-earned treasure against overwhelming odds. A tense battle scene unfolds as orders are given to take down an insulin worm, even at the cost of lives. A queen needs to be evacuated by boat before spreading fire consumes the area. Captain Majima engages in combat while the queen makes her escape. A confrontation between Naomi and others reveals family tensions. Naomi refuses to give up, particularly resistant to facing their father. The situation involves Noah, who appears to be Naomi's younger brother, creating a complex family dynamic during this conflict. Queen Michelle attempts to return to Atlantis, but is shockingly denied entry. The security forces now serve Raymond Law, declared as the new pirate king. Despite her protests, she's warned to leave or face cannon fire from the city defenses. Raymond reveals his elaborate scheme to Queen Michelle. He manipulated information about the Neil Island treasure, leading to the Queen's forces being depleted. He has successfully taken control of Madlantis, planning to transform it into a haven for illegal activities. The crew works hurriedly to move treasure while the tide is low, concerned about the Queen's potential return. They discuss plans for fencing the goods through Tucker when Raymond makes contact with unexpected news. Raymond reveals he has taken Rich Island and is holding Moana Rich hostage. He demands the entire Esperanza treasure in exchange for her life, threatening to burn the island if denied. He also discloses the Queen's defeat and his control over Madlantis. Conflict erupts among the crew regarding the hostage situation. Rodriguez refuses to give up his share of treasure from Moana's life, while others argue for her rescue. This creates tension between those prioritizing money and those wanting to save the hostage. A heated discussion about honor and loyalty ensues. The conversation centers around Yakuza principles and what it means to be truly strong. The crew must decide between securing their fortune and maintaining their moral code. The situation reaches a critical decision point. Rodriguez ultimately sides with Majima, refusing to abandon their principles for money. They decide to maintain their original treasure-sharing arrangement with Tucker while planning to address the Moana situation. A tense confrontation occurs where someone accuses Shigaki of being no better than the villains. The situation involves Moana's life being in danger, with heated arguments about whether inaction is equivalent to causing harm. Some defend that while poor decisions were made, the person in question isn't truly malicious. A violent incident unfolds involving Noah and his father Jason. Someone admits they only meant to threaten, but ended up causing serious harm. Jason suffers a severe injury that requires immediate medical attention. The situation becomes critical as they need to get him to a boat quickly to prevent him from bleeding out. The injured party reflects on the irony of potentially dying while searching for eternal life, referencing something called the heart of the dragon. Despite the gravity of the situation, they express gratitude for being saved from a meaningless existence of drinking alone on an island. They thank someone for helping free their son from that fate. Noah expresses guilt over the situation, believing his desire to leave the island led to his father's injury. Someone consoles him, emphasizing that having and pursuing dreams is natural and important. They promise to make the world worth seeing and ensure it lives up to Noah's expectations. The narrative shifts to a leadership moment where Shigaki is called upon to step up. Moved by witnessing Noah's distress, Shigaki pledges complete cooperation and begs for a chance to make amends. Clear orders are given: secure treasure first, then save Jason and Moana. The scene moves to Madlantis, where tense negotiations take place regarding treasure exchange and Moana's safety. A threat is made to sink everything if terms aren't met. The exchange proceeds with Moana being released, leading to an emotional reunion with Noah, though they must quickly depart per captain's orders. A confrontation escalates into violence, with taunts about age and fighting ability exchanged. The situation intensifies when an unexpected ally arrives, knowing the layout of the location perfectly. The dynamic shifts as multiple parties unite against a common enemy. The narrative reveals deeper character relationships and motivations. A significant conversation occurs about recovered memories and responsibilities. Plans are made to seize control of key defensive positions, specifically the main cannon bay, leading to a coordinated assault against security forces. A tense confrontation is brewing as preparations are made for an upcoming battle. There is acknowledgement that while an immediate attack would be satisfying, taking time to prepare properly is the wiser strategy. The atmosphere is charged with determination as they ready themselves for what lies ahead. A heated exchange reveals plans involving legendary treasure. The opposing force appears dismissive of others' motivations, viewing the treasure purely as a commodity that will ultimately return to their possession. Threats are made about harming others, including Noah, Moana, and Naomi, along with Jason's family. The true motivation for the confrontation is revealed. It isn't about the treasure, but rather about protecting innocence and hope, particularly that of a child named Noah. The argument centers around whether winning through underhanded means is acceptable with one side defending dirty tactics, while the other stands for preserving children's dreams and hope for the future. After an intense battle, the Esperanza treasure is finally obtained. However, what should be a moment of triumph is tainted by hints of impending tragedy. The situation becomes tense as ominous implications are made about someone's fate, particularly concerning Jason and his father. A formal acknowledgement of the treasure hunt's completion is made, recognizing how various groups, from pirates to Yakuza to financiers, all played crucial roles. Special recognition is given to two key figures who brought everyone together: a man who washed ashore without memories and a boy who rescued him. Rather than claiming material wealth, the focus shifts to valuing the moment of discovery itself. The concept that treasure shines brightest when first found is emphasized, suggesting that the real value lies in the journey and shared experience rather than monetary gain. This philosophy guides the decision-making about how to handle the distribution. News of a father's peaceful passing is shared, with the comfort that he lived to hear about the treasure's discovery. Strange details emerge about his final days, including mysterious behavior and claims about being present when the treasure was originally buried centuries ago, raising questions about possible connections to an ancient journal. The discussion turns to the possibility of a mystical elixir called the Heart of the Dragon. Research reveals it might be related to ambergris, a valuable substance from sperm whales used in Chinese medicine. The potential connection between this substance and legends of immortality sparks curiosity about further adventures and discoveries. A discussion begins about a legendary figure named Bryce, who was rumored to be over 100 years old, but maintained incredible physical fitness. The source of his vitality was attributed to drinking the heart of a dragon, though the details remain mysterious. There is skepticism about an incredible tale involving retrograde amnesia and a battle with a giant squid. Despite the skeptics, some participants insist on the authenticity of their dangerous encounter with the sea creature. The conversation reveals tension between those who believe the story and those who doubt it. To prove the validity of their squid encounter, physical evidence is presented in the form of a necklace crafted from one of the squid's barbs. This tangible proof sparks a discussion about other witnesses, including Naomi and Moana, who could corroborate the incredible story. The narrative shifts to discuss an upcoming meeting with Diago, who has formally dressed for the occasion. The conversation reflects on the contrasting fates of different individuals, particularly those who carried the weight of significant responsibilities versus those who managed to retire in good health despite their adventures. Memories surface of a father figure named Rodriguez, whose life ended after completing his treasure hunt. This leads to philosophical musings about life's duration and the importance of continuing to pursue dreams and adventures while possible. The conversation reveals a past fascination with a legendary treasure said to grant everlasting health. Despite initial reluctance to participate in certain ventures, the allure of this mythical prize proved irresistible. Even after memory loss, the pull toward this treasure remains strong, suggesting some dreams are deeply ingrained. While the quest for eternal life proved fruitless, it served a greater purpose by helping Noah achieve his dream of experiencing the world. The discussion emphasizes the importance of pursuing dreams and passing them on to future generations, even if they seem unrealistic. The conversation concludes with an optimistic outlook toward finding new dreams to chase. The participants embrace the idea that life's enjoyment comes from continuous pursuit of new adventures, maintaining that the best experiences still lie ahead.